ladies, fellas. Welcome to the Football Frame of Mind podcast. I'm your host, Cam. That's Brandon, man. So we're gonna get into our weekly show, man. Couple things to talk about. Obviously, you got Super Bowl, then you got some college stuff to talk about too. So we'll get into that, man. But before we get started, man, how you doing, man?
It's nice to be here today. It's really nice to be here having this discussion, talking about it's always fun this time of the year when everything's kind of culminating into a big game, preferably a big game, but we definitely got a lot to talk about nonetheless.
Right, yeah, yeah, most definitely, man. So before we get started, man, obviously check we're gonna give a shout out to our sponsors, man, Off the Ball Network, man. So good. So big baseball news broke today. So that's what's going on in our chat today. But still talk about football, man. We still talk about everything. So check them out, man. There'll be a link in our description, man, to their page, man. They got a lot of stuff on there, a lot of different podcasts, a lot of different topics, man. You talking about boxing, talking about wrestling, man. That's hot right now. Royal Rumble was last weekend, so like I said, a lot of stuff we talk about on there, man. Great follow, so follow them. And then we got Bet US, man, one of the oldest sports books out there, man. Always shout them out, man. So many different deals, man. They definitely help you out if you're a hardcore sports better or if you're a beginner. They got things just for everybody. So check them out, man. There will also be a link in the description, man, for our code to help you get a good head start on things, man, or help you continue what you're doing. So also if you have trouble with gambling, man, they offer that as well. So then check out our store, man. We got everything in there, man. Well, not everything, but we got hoodie in there, man. Check us out. Give us some feedback on what we can add. If you like it, dislike it, man, and actually give us an update or feedback on if the website works or not. Because everybody has Android, everybody has iPhones, man. Sometimes it's different, whatever phone carrier you have. So give us some feedback on that, man. So and we're everywhere, man. We're on all of the platforms. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, or whatever you call that. We're on Deezer, everything. So Football for My podcast shows up everywhere. So check us out, man. Give us some feedback. Join the conversation, man. We have a lot to talk about, man. Football is all year round, man. Obviously, like I said, wrestling news. The Rock is on WWE's board of directors now, but he's also the head man of the Spring Football League too. So USFL and I forgot the other one.
XFL,
XFL, yeah, they're
not
all
the
one.
UFL.
Yeah, they all one spring league now. So once the Super Bowl is over with, a lot of those players are gonna start practicing for their season, and then you'll be surprised how many of those players actually gonna get some training camp invites. So like I said, football is all year round now. That's pretty cool. So, but without further ado, man, let's get into this, man. So I'm gonna start off with some NFL talk, man. So conference championship weekend, obviously last weekend. So I'm not happy. My Ravens lost, man. But let's just dive into that game, man. Ravens and Chiefs first. I give my thought on it. I thought it was a piss poor game plan. Like I don't know what we was doing. I told you Lamar don't need to be dropping back to pass like that many times. Like I mean, we got running backs. I mean, what's the point of getting Dalvin Cook to come on the team if you're not going to use him? What's the point of using your running backs all year and then not using them for this game? You know what I'm saying? So I just didn't like the game plan, and that's pretty much what happened because defense only gave up 17 points. I told you that's the Super Bowl defense right there. You give up 17 points in the Super Bowl, you probably should win that game because offensively, all you have to do is score two or three touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? So the Ravens couldn't do that, man. Obviously, Zay Flowers fumbled the ball at the goal line, which would have made things a little interesting. But I don't fault him at all, man, because for real, um, he was just trying to win, man. That's a winning play. We've seen it happen a bunch of times. Dudes score on that all the time, and some dudes fumble it sometimes, reaching out like that. So I'm not that mad. I just know the game plan sucked. That's all I'm saying, man. So I don't really. I fought Lamar on some things because obviously I told you before the season started. I said I'm not picking him to win the Super Bowl until Lamar cuts down on the turnovers. And that's exactly what happened, man. So turnovers and a horrible game plan, which seems to me just wasted a really good team on defense, man. So I hate to see it, man. You can't say, oh, cut Lamar because you're paying him now. So I don't think so. I just do think that the turnovers are an issue, like it just is. And when the league starts to figure that out, when you corral Lamar and you start going after that football, he not gonna hold it. And once people start doing that, he gonna really have some criticism. Right now, people just criticizing him because they can, because he doesn't win many playoff games. But I just think once he start turning over even more than he does, because the league's gonna look at this, and next year they're gonna start swiping at that ball a lot, especially when he gets back to pass. If he can't escape, then they're gonna start swiping at the ball. There's gonna be some issues, man. So I'm not really upset at the Chiefs winning because they did exactly what they were supposed to do. They really didn't do nothing special. I mean, it was literally Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey show, and that only got them 17 points. So what would you really celebrate with that performance for them? There wasn't nothing special. They really just did basic stuff and scored enough to win because they actually used our game plan. They kept the time of possession was crazy, bro. It was like they kept the ball for 8 9 minute drives all game. And that was it, man. I mean, we just couldn't do nothing on offense. So I was like, whatever, man. Like I knew he was in trouble when he started passing too much. I was like, yeah, we're not winning this game because that's not the way we've been playing all year. Like, yeah, he can beat you with the pass, but we don't have to. We shouldn't have to. He shouldn't be doing that. That's just not a good game plan for him. So, but hey, they lost, man. So I'm not really upset as I was with Alabama because I figured they was gonna do that. They was gonna try to make Lamar the hero, and it really don't need to be like that. And that's exactly what happened. So congratulations to the Chiefs, man. They going to the Super Bowl, man. But what you think about that the next game? The 49ers, man.
Yeah,
49ers
I want
and
to talk about that. So let's start off by saying Detroit had the perfect game plan coming into this game. They came out hot, man, went right down the field, scored instantly. 49ers answer back. Detroit comes back. They score again. Then they score again and again. You're going into halftime up by 17, and I'm going into the second half, and the first thing I'm thinking is, from a offensive play calling perspective, because I'm an offensive guy, I'm thinking, okay, Detroit knows they can move the ball. Detroit knows they can score. All you need to do is chew clock, run the ball, and put the ball in the end zone. You don't even have to score a touchdown every time. Just get down the field, chew clock, and score points. As long as you control the line of scrimmage, you control that time of possession, everything, you're going to win. But the problem is when they got on that first drive, man, they were moving. And I'm like, oh, man, they are doing exactly what I said. They're moving it. They're moving it. They get into a fourth down situation. They're in field goal range. So take the 3 points. He goes for it, and they don't get it. Instantly, when that happened, the switch went off, and the 49ers offense came alive, completely alive. They went down, and they scored. So I'm thinking, okay, you made this mistake. Detroit starts to kind of struggle a little bit. They move in the ball. They get put in another fourth down situation. You're still in field goal range. So, okay, Dan, you need to take points here. You have to extend your lead because you can't keep coming up empty because you've seen what happened when they had the opportunity last time. Yeah, they were a little bit further back, but I said he can make that kick. They send the offense back out. Terrible offensive play call. They don't freaking score. And yet again, Brock Purdy leads that team down the field and they score again. Detroit gets the ball again. They fumble the ball. 49ers get the ball back. They score. They were very opportunistic. The Lions had this game in the bag. They were driving up and down the field on this Lions defense. I mean, on the 49ers defense. But man, that play calling, man, like you have to know when to fold out, bro. I'll give you a pass on the first one. Okay, you were being aggressive. Nothing wrong with being aggressive, but in situational football like this, especially with the magnitude of what's on the line, you have to know when you have to draw the line. That second time, you got to take 3 points, bro, because literally every time they gave the ball back to the Niners, they got points every single time. And we're not talking field goals, we're talking touchdowns. Before we know it, it's a 24-24 game, and the freaking 49ers score again. Not to mention that crazy freaking catch by IU that should have been an interception that put them inside the red zone. They went and scored again. But what messed them up was what really messed them up at the end of the game is that last drive, the second to last drive, they're driving. They're running 2-minute offense, man. They're rolling. I'm like, man, where was this rhythm all game? We get inside the red zone. It's freaking third down. And they decide to run the ball. And I'm like, dude, you cannot do that right now. You have to take a shot at the end zone, and they have to burn that timeout. And that's what did them in because, yeah, they scored. The Niners got the ball back. You have to have 3 timeouts in that situation, man. And they
Yeah.
didn't have it. So they ended up doing themselves in. I don't want to put too much emphasis on it. Look, he was really aggressive. Yes. I'll put a part of the blame on him for that. But I'm going to give credit where it's due. And the 49ers, man, Brock Purdy, like, proved he is not a game manager. Game managers are not going to make plays like I've seen him make. He ran for almost 50 yards. He threw for almost 300 yards. Yeah, he threw an interception. But the plays I've seen him make, game managers don't make plays like that. He put the team on his back and made plays for his team. And I'm very impressed to say he's definitely taken stride. That offense got rolling, and Detroit had no answers for Ayuk or Kittle or any of them. And CMC ended up getting the ball a bit more, getting in the end zone a couple more times. But, I mean, Detroit had a really impressive season, and I don't really look at this like a negative. Like, yeah, it sucks because I feel like this was like your best chance, but you're probably going to retain a lot of this team. Now you know, okay, now we know what we can do and what we can't do. So if we're going to find ourselves back in the situation, we need to do things a little bit differently. Just tweak it. You don't have to go changing all kinds of stuff. The 49ers are still going to be there, and there are a few other teams that are still going to be there, but you have a complete roster. All you have to do is just tweak it. You don't have to do anything crazy. Make a few moves here and there and just adjust how you make game plan for games. That's it. But I mean, it was a really good game, man. Like, but man, it's like the 49ers, like they turned the freaking speed all the way up, dude. And it was just like bam, 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 bam. Like, felt like 2 minutes went by and they scored like 21 points. I mean, it was incredible. Like, give credit where it's due, man. Detroit had a really good season, but those calls definitely did them in, and that turnover did not help them either, as well as some kind of questionable play calling on offense that kind of put them in a bad spot at the end of the game. But you know what? I'm not mad, man. We get a rematch from like 3 years ago, and I'm really hoping that Kyle Shanahan can get the job done for sure.
Yeah, yeah, man. Like I said, I liked what the 49ers had to do, man. I think the aggressiveness of Dan Campbell kind of went to bite him. Like I said, I don't blame him at all, man. He's trying to win the game, man. You
Mm-hmm.
know you need points, and you're not gonna beat a team like that with field goals. So I get you want to take the points, but you gotta score touchdowns to beat a team like that, and you seen it because they went down the field and scored. So you need points to beat a team like that. So I'm not really upset. It's a great season by the Detroit Lions, man. They really did some historic things this year, and they're gonna have some good players. And I think Goff is probably gonna be in the MVP talk again next year because he did a lot of good stuff this year, and he's the guy. So I think you ride him. I mean, obviously you need some better play calls on 4th and 1, but or 4th and whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
you gotta make better play calls. But I don't agree with him. I don't disagree with those decisions because he did his thing, man. I mean, and they've been aggressive all year, so it ain't changing, and that won them a lot of games. Obviously, the playoffs is different, But you don't win Super Bowls changing who you are for real. So if you're gonna do the aggressive thing, you gotta go with it. And I'm not, and like it wasn't a stupid decision to go for it. It's like you just want to score
I
points.
just wouldn't have done it 2 times in a row. Like, I feel like you gotta at least come back with, because at that point, you have a 2 or 3 possession lead. I feel like you just need to try to continue to build on your lead because, I mean, after that first time, like, I'm thinking, "Okay, like, I wanna be aggressive, but I need to come back with something," because they were in good field position at that point giving them the ball back.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree. Like I said, I understand both sides of that. Obviously, you want to
Mhm.
build your
Just
lead,
different perspective, yeah.
but you just gotta. Sometimes you just gotta try to score points, man, because you know that team's really good. It's like when you play the Chiefs, man. Like you can't. You gotta score some points. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't score no points on the Chiefs, you're probably not gonna win. Especially if they're like struggling on offense, they're gonna figure it out. Whether it's like, okay, we need to run more or we need to pass more. Whatever it is, they gonna figure it out, and they did, So and then the 49ers are the same way. Like they gonna figure out a way to beat you. They got a lot of weapons, man. George Kittle, CMC. You got Ayuk, man. So then the offensive line is just ridiculously good. So they're gonna figure out a way to do it because Kyle Shanahan's a genius, man. So he's gonna figure it out, regardless of where he has to do it. He's gonna figure it out. But I do want to give a shout out to the 49ers, man, because they showed out, man. They hit some speed bumps this year, but they going to the Super Bowl, man. And I think I think they got a good shot, man. So we can get into the Super Bowl matchup now. With this would be our preview. So I'm gonna go with the 49ers, man. If I had to pick one right now, because they just seem like they have a lot more weapons than they did the last time. And I think Purdy might be a better quarterback than Garoppolo was. And the decision making process really cost them the last time because
Mhm.
they was winning that Super Bowl a couple years ago, and they just started messing up, man. But I feel like now you got a quarterback that not only can stretch the field a little bit, that's more of an effective runner that you don't have to gasp every time he runs. And I mean, and that's true because Garoppolo's kind of injury
Mhm.
prone, so you don't want to keep running him. You know what I'm saying? Which is kind of why I understand why they drafted Trey Lance. There were some
Mhm.
other things that weren't ready in terms of his development, but being able to use a quarterback like Trey Lance in the run game is crazy positive for what they want to do on offense, man. So the
Mhm.
fact that Purdy can run a little bit, I do believe that'll help them win this game because they'll have to respect it. As far as the Chiefs is concerned, so like I said, I'm picking the 49ers, but if the Chiefs win this game, man, they just need to really do what they what they've been doing, man. I mean, you got Mahomes at quarterback, man. It's not really much you really have to say. The dude is legit probably gonna be one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. So it's not that hard, you know what I'm saying? Like you literally ride him and within the game plan, If you gotta pass a little bit more, you pass a little bit more. He's okay with that. And if you gotta run a little bit more, you got a couple guys. You can use a couple jet sweeps here and there, man. So like you can mix it up, man. But it all starts with Patrick Mahomes and how he divvies out the ball, man. He's not really a runner, but he's effective with it. So I'm interested to see what they do as far as like using him in the run game because you're gonna have to. You can't play zone. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong. We played zone against him in the championship game, and it worked. But he was just picking us apart. But it worked, but you're gonna have to go man, and then he can scamper a little bit, and he pick up first downs all the time. He ain't afraid to take no hits. That's one thing I like about Mahomes. He's a tough guy. As far as running downfield, he ain't scared. You don't want your big time quarterback taking hits, but he ain't scared either. So I like him. I like the way he plays. But I think the 49ers are they have a little bit more in terms of star power in the running game because CMC is excellent, man. Don't get me wrong. Pachinko is good, but I don't see him affecting the game passing as much as McCaffrey will. McCaffrey's going to be able to impact this game, man. And don't be surprised. Like, they might give it to the quarterback as far as MVP is concerned, but don't be surprised if McCaffrey put some good plays on there, man. Because to for them to win this game, he's gonna have to have at least 80 receiving and 100 rushing, at least because he's gonna have to do it, you know. So, but like I said, I expect this game to be more or less a shootout. I don't really expect the defenses to do as much as people might think because it's just two really good offensive minded coaches, man. I mean, Andy Reid's an offensive minded coach, and you already know Kyle Shanahan's a genius. So it's gonna be a chess match, man. So defensive coordinators might want to sit this one out because this one gonna be kind of crazy in my opinion. So that's my take on
I think it's. I mean, I felt like whoever was going to win these games, you was going to get a good matchup regardless. Because I feel like you got like the four best teams in my opinion. I mean, if I'm looking at this game compared to the one before, I'm kind of right on what you said. It's kind of what I was already thinking. That I feel like last time Kansas City had a lot more, and the Niners had a bit less. Now,
it.
if I'm looking at these rosters, I'm thinking, man, like the Chiefs are pretty depleted in talent compared to the Niners. Now they have less than the Niners have more. I mean, and I'm gonna say just like I was thinking of, you have Mahomes. You're always gonna have this game in your back pocket. As long as you don't really shoot yourself in the foot, you're always gonna have a shot to win this game. I think my biggest concern is going to be with the Chiefs defense in the secondary if they're going to be able to contain those big plays. Because I think Christian McCaffrey is going to be able to run on them, but I just want to see if they're going to be able to take those deep shots to Brandon Ayuk or Debo Samuel. Because if they're able to open up the offense and throw it down the field like that, the Niners are going to win. But I mean, look, I've been picking against Kansas City. It feels like since week one, and I feel like they just keep shooting me in the foot every time, every time, every time. But I just can't bring myself to do it. But they just keep proving me wrong. They keep proving both of us wrong. I mean, give credit where it's due, man. I mean, that's the best head coach quarterback duo in the league right now. And he's probably the best head coach that's actually hired at this point in the league. I mean, but man, like, I think it's just going to come down to can they contain that pass game? Can they get pressure on him? Because I feel like if they get pressure up front, he's going to roll out and try to make some plays, man. And I wouldn't be surprised if he can win a Super Bowl MVP. I could see this being like a 35-28 game. I don't see it being like high scoring, but they're going to score some points for sure. But I just can't do it, bro. I'm going to go with the 49ers. I just feel like they have too much. They have too much weapons on offense, and I just think the 49ers defense is better than Kansas City. It's like, no disrespect to them. They could win. They could literally win just off of obviously what they don't have in star power. They do have an experience,
Mm.
a lot of playoff experience, Super Bowl experience, and that means a lot. And people don't really acknowledge that. But I just think I think San Francisco has too much star power, and I think they're going to win this one at least like 35-28, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think the Chiefs defense is really underrated, man. In my opinion, obviously the level of receiver is probably not the same with the Ravens. But well, not even that. I would say that it's the level of quarterback, honestly. So, like I said, Purdy in terms of football player is not the same as Lamar Jackson. It's a difference,
No.
right? But in terms of playing quarterback, that's where the difference is. Like we're not
Mm-hmm.
talking about being able to affect the game in all phases, right? Or offensively in all phases. We're just talking about throwing the ball, drop back in the pass, progressions, everything like that. Purdy
Mm-hmm.
is a little bit of an advantage, right? So there's a certain level of edginess that I would, which is why I'm picking the 49ers because Purdy can make the throw, right? And
Hmm.
it's not just the throw; it's the throw like in on the sidelines, like throwing that high or away from the defender. It's that kind of throw. It's the throw to the running back to where he's coming out of the backfield and he can just catch it in stride. He doesn't have to, you know, catch it and then try to make somebody miss while he's catching it, which is probably not a good idea, or he has to like drop low and catch it because it's not all the way there or it's above his head or just catch it in stride and then we can make some moves, right? Those are the throws I'm talking about. And those are the throws that hurt, the Ravens, man. Like I said, you shouldn't have Lamar passing that much, but if he's gonna pass that much, you gotta make those throws. And in the Super Bowl, when you talk about Purdy, he makes those throws, whether it's a check down or whatever. But that's kind of what the West Coast offense is. Like that's what it is. It's either they always say it's either a check down or a touchdown. So that's kind of what it is. And when you make those throws, you stay on schedule, man. I look at Mahomes in the championship game, he was making those throws. Like, I mean, catchable throws, like right there. Pachinko caught a few. You know what I'm saying? I can't remember. Rice caught a few. You know what I'm saying? Then you throw in guys like Kelsey, who he was just making catches, but Mahomes was throwing it to where those catches were possible. Like he was making some great catches. Don't get me wrong. Kelsey is probably gonna be one of the best tight ends to ever play this game. And he was making some catches, man. But you don't make those catches unless the ball is where you can make it. And that's why I feel like the 49ers have an advantage here because their quarterback is gonna make those throws that he needs to make. You know what I'm saying? The throws that keep them on schedule. Third and 2 or second and 5 or whatever. Those throws right there. So that with McCaffrey being the uber athlete that he is, I think those couple factors help them win this game. And they're gonna make some stops on defense. I'm not really worried about that. But it's the throws on offense to stay on schedule. Because if they get to the point where they're back in like 3rd and 8 and stuff like that, like you can win in those scenarios, but it doesn't. To me, it doesn't help them at all because now you might get a ball back to Mahomes and he gonna have plus field position, and that's never a good thing because he's Mahomes, man. Like, duh, you know what I'm saying? So I would rather let's just keep the pressure on him. Let's try to one dominate field position, and then you want to dominate time of possession, which keeps them off of the field because they can score so fast you know. And actually, I really don't want them on the field anyway because they'll just chew the clock and still score on you. And I feel like that's worse than scoring real fast, honestly, because if
Hmm.
you can keep the ball and we done called all of our defense to stop you on one drive, ain't too much else we can call on the next drive when you do the exact same thing or something different. You know what I'm saying? So you giving up a lot of the goods if you let these drives stall out like that or keep going. So I think the 49ers, like I said, they have a little bit more this time. And I like this matchup a little bit. Uh, well, I wouldn't say, well, I like this matchup a little bit more than the Ravens for real. Because I felt like uh Lamar might have just got in the same trouble again. Because like I said, I hate when they do this and they just don't try to win the game, but they try to make the quarterback the hero. Like I don't like it, man. There's no reason why we couldn't have beat the Chiefs last weekend. I don't think I think we could have beat them. Like if we just stuck to what we've been doing all year. I don't understand. They playing tight coverage on all the receivers, and you still gonna throw the ball, man. There's absolutely no reason for that. So like I said, that's my take on it. But I really like this matchup in the Super Bowl anyway because it's two really good teams and a lot of interesting storylines, man. So I'm looking forward to it.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, but like I said, we covered Super Bowl championship weekend. So, get into some college, man. So, I haven't really heard too much from the Bama side of things, except for recruiting trail stuff and Senior Bowl practices have started. And Chris Braswell is one of the players that's doing really well. So he might be sneaking up some draft boards. I'm not gonna say first rounder, but he should be sneaking up into that high second, early third. You know what I'm saying? And be a nice fit for somebody coming. Maybe a starter or high end depth player. So looking forward to that. Obviously, we're trying to still get, I guess, the staff together. So it's a rumor going around that the offensive coordinator is linked to the Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator job.
With
I don't
Mike
really,
McDonald, I think
uh, I don't know,
that's who the
man.
head coach is.
I can
I
see
did
that.
hear about that. That caught me off guard.
Well, no, I'm not surprised that Mike McDonald's though is one of those guys.
No, I'm saying that y'all offensive coordinator. I'm saying that caught me off guard.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So it caught me off guard, but I'm not really surprised though because they had a lot of success at Washington on offense, man. So and then with the fact that you got DK Metcalf and a lot of good receivers over there, like that's not that bad, like you want to get them the ball, like but their issue is quarterback, man. So I want to say this is might be a ploy to try to get Penix.
I heard they might be looking at JJ McCarthy because he's got experience with Mike McDonald.
Yeah, true. But see, that doesn't really
I
make
don't think
sense.
it's a really good fit for their
Yeah,
kind
it
of
doesn't
offense.
make sense. Like I'd see if he was the offensive coordinator of Michigan, but he was the defensive coordinator for Michigan.
That's what I said. I didn't
So
understand
I don't
that.
really
But I mean,
understand
I
it. So
think Penix fits. I think Penix fits the archetype like of the kind of talent they have. So you got like JSN, you've got DK, you've got Lockett, you've got Kenneth Walker, you've got Noah Fant. Like you got a lot of
see what I'm
athletic
saying? See what I'm
guys.
saying? Like that's what I'm saying. They have a lot of talent over there on offense, and I feel like if you're gonna get the offensive coordinator for of Washington, why not get Penix if he's available?
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have a connection there, and the verbiage is gonna be the same, and you're gonna basically conform the offense to what Penix does best, and that's one throwing it down the field. And a quarterback's best friend is a good running game, and you got a guy that's gonna give you 1,000 yards rushing. This, typically, so you're gonna be able to balance it out. So it's not just pass, pass, pass. You got a guy that can run too. So I just think you've been trying to win with lower level quarterbacks, and with
Mm.
the fact that you have a lot of talent, which to me shows that they have a lot of talent because Geno Smith went to the Pro Bowl a couple years ago. You know what I'm saying? He was a Pro Bowl player
Yeah.
with
Now they
all
got
that
better.
talent. So if you get a guy that's already damn near polished at quarterback, it's some things that Penix needs to work on, but the arm talent speaks for itself. He is a legit NFL quarterback. So I don't care about all this footwork stuff, whatever, man, because with the way defenders are fast like this, footwork is really kind of out the window. You need arm talent, man, because you ain't gonna have time to set your feet. The defense is too fast for that. You know what I'm saying? So having a guy that can throw off different platforms, you know, under pressure is probably the best bet. But I wouldn't be surprised if the offensive coordinator takes the job. You know what I'm saying? I just felt like it's a little early. But if you got a chance to go to a team that the quarterback you just had gets drafted to, then that's a can't miss. You know what I'm saying? So
It's a good situation to be in.
yeah, it's a perfect situation to be in. I wouldn't necessarily pass that up either. You know, it's like Steve Sarkisian when he left Alabama and went to Atlanta for to be their offensive coordinator. Their offense instantly ticked up in top five, like that whole year. So I was like, well, all right, it works. If you go to there and you fix it, now you're in line for a head coaching job, you know, because it only takes one good year for real. I mean, that's why Mike Martz was kind of the guy in St. Louis because he had the greatest show on turf, man. It just turned out that he was just not really a good head coach, man. But we've seen it all the time, man. When you have a great offense, man, or a great defense as a coordinator, it works. That's how you kind of parlay your way into a job, man. And like I said, one other person is Marvin Lewis. Remember when he coached the Ravens for that all otherworldly defense, man? That got him the Cincinnati Bengals job because he was that good, you know. But and I mean, it wasn't that bad, honestly, because looking back on it, I was like, okay, well, he didn't win a lot of playoff games,
He ain't
but
win no playoff games.
yeah, he didn't win no playoff games. I mean, I know that. But when you growing up, I was like, man, they suck. They don't ever win. But when I got older, I realized that the Cincinnati Bengals are a really cheap team, like cheap team.
Now they're not like that. They were then.
I mean, yeah, now it's changed, but under Marvin Lewis, they were extremely cheap. Like people were saying that their facilities were like bottom third in the league. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And like you can't attract no free agents like that. And Cincinnati's not the highest place on people's
But
wish
they
list.
had but they had squads, bro. Like we
I
can't
mean,
put all the
yeah,
blame on that. They had squads.
I mean they had squads, but at the same time, they weren't no high level free agents though. They built that stuff up to
That's
wherever
what I'm
they
saying.
got to.
Yeah.
They built it up. And I mean, and don't get me wrong, like I said, they had some teams, and I feel like it was a lot of bad timing too, because the team they had when Carson Palmer got hurt in the playoffs, that was the team that I thought might have went all the way because they had a lot of talent, you know. And Carson Palmer tears his knee up, right? And then it's like, oh man, you know, you're not really gonna win with that, right? And then you got the team that Dalton was in charge of, and then you got the guy, what's his name, Perfect, knocking out Antonio Brown that year. That was a good team that could have won everything. So it's just bad timing and bad decision making sometimes. But I feel like Marvin Lewis has some really good teams. But I just say that to say that defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator is a big deal, man. So if you can fix it, man, you can go anywhere. So like I said, I'm all aboard on that one, man. I'm not mad at him leaving though, you know, because I feel like if you are an offensive coordinator, if you're Kevin DeBoer, you can just find somebody else to run your offense. Hell, you can call plays. Honestly, you know the system better than anybody, and we've seen it happen a whole bunch of times. I remember Mike Gundy took play calling in the middle of a game and just went over there and sketched on the playboard on the next offensive series. So like I mean head coaches do it all the time. Like sometimes you just trust yourself with it. And sometimes that's the best way to go. So I'm not upset like that though. But I do think recruiting is gonna be an issue. But I haven't really followed much though because I really just want to go to spring game and just kind of see what's out there, man. Not giving you much, obviously, as far as like calling all the plays, but just seeing kind of the concepts, like what you doing, who's running with the ones, who's on the ones
Mm,
defense, you know, who's playing backup, because that'll let you know who's uh transferring in that summer transfer window. Because when you
mm.
see who's playing backup, as opposed to who was starting the year before, that's how you know where it's going. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. I don't know, but I like to see the spring game because that kind of lets me know which way we're headed at times, and then getting into the fall, obviously summer and then fall, you start to figure out some things. So that's pretty much it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that, man. One more question, I guess, before we get up out of here, man. What you think this 12 team playoffs gonna look like, man? Like what kind of wrinkles you think they're gonna go with? One wrinkle that I was looking at that I seen was that the conference championship game is gonna be a part of the playoff.
Not that. But I don't. But how? Like I don't because I feel like
I
that's
don't
gonna take
know.
off
I
even.
don't I
But
don't
that's
know.
weird, Cam. Because like I feel like that shouldn't be a thing. Because what happens if you have some of these other like I guess if you don't have East or West, maybe. But like when I'm thinking about that, it's like they always had that fluke team that really shouldn't be in there. Like I don't know how I'm gonna have to read that because that don't make a whole lot of sense. I feel like you should have
It
your
didn't.
conference championship, and then everything is set. So like all of your main conference champions, boom, you're automatically in. Now you're picking through the top 10 to 15 teams, looking at strength of schedule and then looking at like win differentials and like how you played and things like that to determine the other spots. Like I feel like that's what would make the most sense, or at least that's what I feel like they were gonna do. But man, the committee and all, man, they just every time you feel like you figured them out or you feel like okay, we're moving in the right direction, like they throw some weird freaking monkey wrench into it because that doesn't make. Maybe I need to look it up, but even you agree that doesn't seem like that makes a whole lot of
No,
sense
it doesn't
because
really at
I
all.
just
Like
feel
I
like
was
that's
like,
gonna.
what kind of
I think they're trying to throw a weird little wild card in there to maybe mess up an SEC team or something. But I mean, that just don't compute. And maybe I don't see it the right way, or maybe you don't see it the right way. But I just don't see in a realistic situation why you need to include that. Like that makes no sense. Even in the league, like you don't need that kind of thing. Like obviously, you don't have conference championships, but I mean everything's already set in stone. Like that's how it should be. There shouldn't have to be all this stuff in the air. Whoever wins the conference championships, they're automatically in. Then you look at the ones who are right below the pack, and you figure out based, like I said, strength of schedule, win difference, and stuff, to where you can figure out, okay, put this person in, and just pick and choose a few from here and there. You're already going to have some smaller group of fives like MAC and Mountain West. You're still going to have some of those, which I'm pretty sure, like if you get a MAC champion, Mountain West, whatever, like it's probably going to be the only team from those conferences that are going to make the playoff unless a bunch of teams really just drop the bag. But I feel like the SEC is going to have at least three teams in it. I feel like the Big Ten's probably at least going to have three teams. That's already half the teams right there. So I gotta imagine maybe the ACC could pull two out, but then you still have to make sure you're getting all these other conference champions in there. So I mean, if they're doing that, I hope they have a really good and viable reason for it, and I want to be able to understand the reasoning and how that works out the way it does, because that just don't sound right.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. So, but I would like to see, a lot of the little teams in there, just because. I mean, obviously, it's not a participation trophy and things like that, but I still would. I mean, shoot, yeah, football is different than basketball, but we've seen plenty of teams in the tournament, the NCAA basketball tournament, go from low seed to the final four. You know what I'm saying? Remember
Telling you,
Florida Gulf
it's
Coast,
possible.
man? They was like 15 that year and went all the way to like the Elite Eight or something. So it's possible. You never know. One team, you just like, I mean, especially if we're talking like teams that are weird, like the triple option teams, right? If you're good enough to get into the playoff, you can definitely cause some havoc, man. Especially if they haven't played a triple option before. Let a triple option team get into the playoff, man. It's gonna be some trouble. Like, yeah, I'm not talking Georgia Tech going against Clemson a couple years ago. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a team like what's the team name? The Chanticleers or something like that. That's their name.
Carolina.
Yeah, they run like a triple option wing T type thing, right? If you were to use a team like that recruits D1 players at a high level sometimes and put them into the playoff, right? That would be a team that could, wreak havoc on there. Or it's simple, like a team like LSU or a team like Bama that's lost like 2 games, right? But playing in that SEC schedule keeps you in the playoff, but you're like the 12th seed or something, right? You're still really good and you can like beat everybody up there because you're really good, right?
Exactly.
They're not talking about that storyline either because now,
No, they don't want to talk about that.
yeah, nobody wants to talk about the fact that LSU, Bama, and Georgia are probably going to be in the playoff under this format every single year. Like I don't understand like why people was like trying to get 12 teams because that just put one of those 3 teams in there every single year,
You know, there's
regardless.
another team. There's another team that's probably in that hunt this year in the same conference. I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
Mizzou.
oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
That
yeah.
one,
I see.
dude. I'm
I
telling you.
wasn't going there yet. I wasn't going there yet because I was
Oh,
trying to see.
I think they're there, bro. I don't know what their quarterback
I was
situation is,
Yeah,
but
that's my hold up because Brady Cook has been so good the last few years. Like I don't know if he's still there. If he comes back, then I'm like,
I think
okay.
he's going.
See what I'm saying? So if they can figure out that situation, then yeah, I would
But
be fully
you know who
in.
you know who we talk about a lot, who I feel can make the playoff because they're in a weaker conference, but they recruited really well as of late. That's Tulane. Bro,
Yeah,
Tulane has been snatching former 4 and 5 star guys from Oregon and all these other bit like
they got
telling you,
somebody from
bro,
Bama
they
too.
coming. I'm
Yeah,
telling you, they coming. Like,
yeah.
I don't think they're gonna skip. I know they switched coaches, bro. They're not gonna miss a beat because he is freaking going crazy in the recruiting path and freaking transfer portal. Like, that's a team that I'd watch out for as well.
Ole Miss
But
too. Ole Miss.
yeah,
Ole
is
Miss is
Jackson
good.
Dart coming back next year?
I think so. I think so.
That's
I don't think he
dangerous.
went pro. I don't think he went pro yet. I mean, he's really
If
good
he's
too.
got another year, if he's got another year with Lane Kiffin, that's dangerous.
Yeah,
If
and
he's
then
coming back, then I've definitely got Ole Miss in there before Missouri.
yeah, yeah. That's why I wasn't really thinking about Mizzou yet because I'm like, I'm not really sure what they're gonna look like at quarterback. And in that system, you can really put anybody back there that's capable of throwing it, and they're gonna look pretty good just because it's a throwing kind of system. But I wasn't ready to put them in there yet. But I mean, we'll see. Like I said, they made some
I
waves.
think Clemson's gonna be back this year.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think they're gonna give Florida State. I mean, obviously we don't know. Florida State's been doing really good in the transfer portal too, but I don't know. I guess we'll see what DJU does. But I think Clemson's gonna shock some people this year. I'm not saying they're gonna go on a run, but I think they're gonna play a bit better than what they did this past year.
This is a hot take, man. I think Miami might win the
I think
ACC
they're
this
gonna make
year.
some strides too.
I think
That's another sleeper.
I think that's my hot take for the ACC, man. I think they can win that thing because they got Ward at quarterback now,
They
which
got a chance to win the conference. This year's the year.
yeah, I'm
Like this is
saying
the main
yeah,
year because you don't know what's gonna happen after this year.
yeah. So I'm actually looking forward to that one, man, because I think they can get in there, and if they win the conference, they probably go into the playoff too,
Oh, they in the playoff. They in the playoff. If that's
which
the
is
case.
something good because the U has been kind of dragged down by a lot of stuff, man.
Hey,
So
bro. You let him into the playoff with that level of talent that they've been recruiting, he might just go bananas, bro.
yeah,
He
man,
just might. I'm telling you.
yeah, man. Because like I said, man, when the U was really good, they was really good, bro. Like it was just otherworldly how good they were. So, but we could get into that on another because we'll talk about this all day, man. But yeah, man. Like I said, this has been our show, man. We enjoy doing it, man. And like I said, we're gonna keep it going, man. But before we get up out of here, Anything you gotta say, man?
Yeah, guys. Thank you guys for all the feedback and support. Uh, It's been a really fun ride. You know, I mean, it's only been 6, 7, 8. I lost track of the time. But I mean, anytime you can do something you really like, and you can entertain other people, and other people can give you their perspectives, and they like it, then you really can't ask for too much else. So we really do appreciate the support and feedback. Uh, if you guys like this kind of content, make sure you like the video. If you want to leave a comment, it'd be awesome. We love comments. We like going back and forth. Some comments are a bit more abstract than others, but we do appreciate all of those as well. And if you are already subscribed, don't forget the bell notification. So every time we drop a short, a video, community post, everything, you will be notified and you will not miss anything at all. We're coming to the end of football season. So, I mean, you may be thinking that content might stop coming. Everything's going to continue to come, but we have a plethora of other stuff as well, pro content, college content. If you like hot takes, we have top five segments. If you like kind of like weird scenarios and stuff like that, we do have a what if series that we really need to pick back up at some point. Maybe now that the season's over, we can try to do that. But man, if you guys love football content, this is the place to be. If you're not subscribed, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you don't miss anything at all. If you don't want to watch videos, listen to the audio. Like he said before, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, all that good stuff. And if you want to represent the brand, we have a link for Shopify. Check it out. It's soft, it's warm, it looks cool, and you can represent the brand all at the same time. But you guys, thank you so much and have a great day.
Hey, man, couldn't have said it better myself, man. All right, I'm Cam. That's Brandon. This is a Football Frame of Mind podcast. Signing off.